The only thing that's worth a on the rail is a silver dollar.
A silver dollar.
Because they are silver.
Interesting. So people trade silver on... So do you know...
It's a barter trade system.
International Stacker.
What's up, guys? International Stacker here, and I'm in my second night here in Springfield, and I met a very interesting gentleman here telling me kind of his story and how he travels around. Why don't you tell him your name? Who are you?
Chris.
So this is Chris, and we were talking a lot about just about the world and things in general, and he was telling me how he used to do something called rail jumping or rail hopping, and I thought a lot of you might like to hear about this type of lifestyle because he made it clear to me that there's a difference between homeless people, because they have to be, and then people who are home free.
Out of choice.
Yeah, out of choice. They want to travel, live off the land, experience things.
I enjoy saying that instead of home free, or instead of homeless, we are home free.
So I think my viewers would really find interest in your rail hopping story. So if you could just tell us kind of, like, first off, how did you get into it?
Well, I became addicted to some stuff, and me and a beautiful woman that I was with split up over it, and I decided that I wanted to be addicted to something else, and the only way I was going to do it was to literally just completely dice my life,
right,
and go somewhere completely different where I know no one, I don't know anything. If you can't find it, you can't do it.
Right.
And I ended up just shy of Georgia, and I was basically in the Appalachian Mountains.
And you started out in Illinois.
Yeah, I started out in Illinois, went through Tennessee, Indiana, went out that way.
Okay.
Ended up in Georgia, basically in the Appalachians, and was stranded. Me and the gentleman I was with parted ways. He had made it to where he was going to go. And if you ever watch this Trinidad Rodriguez, much love, you know him when you see him. He's got tattoos all across his face. He's the last of the Yaqui tribe.
Oh, wow.
They were nomads to begin with.
Oh, wow.
He showed me the ropes. I won't say it to his face, but I'll say it to a camera.
Nice. That's awesome.
He's an old head.
So you started in Illinois. You ended up stranded in the Appalachians. Well, how did you get out of there? What did you do?
I met an old Marine, and he was nice enough to get me out of where I was at and took me to a town. And I went to a Love's gas station. Much love to Love's.
Oh, Love's.
Best pizza ever.
Yeah, nice. So you kind of got into why you started rail jumping. What did you like about it? Was it horrible experience the entire time, or is there a part of it you love? Like, what do you like about it?
So shout out to not my wife, Crystal. I met her to some extent while I was rail jumping.
Okay.
And you said, are there good times or are there bad times? I'll tell you a good time. One of the best dates I've ever had in my entire life. A boxcar, a bottle of Boone's Farm, and 2 candles.
Was it Boone's Farm melon ball?
I don't even remember. I think it was a berry stuff.
Okay.
I just remember, I didn't feel good in the morning.
Okay.
Neither did she.
So what was the worst experience you had rail jumping?
I got caught in St. Louis, pulled off the train and beat and thrown out front by the bull.
By who?
The bull. They call him a bull.
The bull. Who is that?
It's the one that guards the trains, watches the rail cars.
Oh, so it's like a security officer at night.
They call him a bull because you can't run. And if he catches you, you're done.
So what happens if they catch you?
Well, it depends. On a hush-hush, they beat you. But that's not what they do, guys. What they do is they use necessary force to get you away from the rail yard, and then they call the proper authority and restrain you in a proper manner, or whatever that requires at the particular moment.
So what really happens? They
drag you off, they beat the snot out of you, throw you out front and call the cops. The cop picks you up and goes, and I've seen this before. Exact words. Cop picked me up from out front and he goes, I've seen this before, dude. I'll drop you off over at the scam track. He said Amtrak, not scam track. I said
Amtrak.
Scam track because if you rail jump and you ride them for free, you get pissed off when you got to pay for them.
Oh, so then it becomes a scam. Well, we talk about scammers a lot on the channel too. So that's really interesting. So is that like a one-time experience, or is that every single time? Like, to be completely honest.
It's
like, is it a
in
few
recent times.
bad apples, or is it just they're all like that?
Man, back when I first started, Hobo stood for helping other brothers out.
And what year did you start?
I was 14, I'm 36. So
20
22 years ago.
So like
98,
98, yeah. Okay.
98 or 99.
So has it gotten better since when you first started? Worse or the same?
Much worse.
Really?
It's the atmosphere in general. Like, if you notice, everybody's town's getting worse too. It's not just a certain particular thing. It's just in general, everything's kind of sliding.
Now you mentioned Hobo, and that's helping. What is it?
Other brothers out. But originally, it stood for Homeward Bound.
Oh.
When people came out of World War II, they would be displaced from their home, and the rails were being built, and they would go across the United States. Well, what they'd do is they'd give you a badge. It'd say Homeward Bound. You'd be able to pin it on yourself. And you were able to use the rail to get anywhere in the United States that you needed to.
No way. That is so
Hobo
cool.
Originally stood for Homeward Bound.
Wow.
I'm a hobo because I'm homeward bound.
So kind of on that same vein, did you find yourself with a lot of veterans rail jumping, or?
Yeah, to some extent, yeah.
It probably would have been a lot more if it was
It's
right
a
after.
mishmash.
Yeah.
It really is.
Okay. Cool. So what was your worst experience then was getting beat down by one of these bulls? Now, what's more dangerous, a bull or maybe another
rail jumper, because you don't know where they come from and you don't know where they're going.
Because you're talking earlier about to me that, like, you know, originally hobos and rail jumpers followed a certain code and a certain etiquette.
Well, there's a code among thieves, if you will.
But that's not the case anymore, right?
No.
So you might run into somebody who has no idea about the code, somebody new,
I'll
or
give you one better. Maybe it's the fact that they do know the code and they don't care.
so people just don't care.
There are certain people. Well, I mean, there's people in every profession.
That are the bad seeds, right?
So it only takes one.
Huh. So,
And the thing with a rail jumper or a traveler is we're ghosts.
right,
I could literally come to your town, toss it up,
and
if
leave, and
nobody
no one
saw
knows.
me, I could leave, and it wouldn't make a difference.
So, what's the longest continuous ride you ever did without getting off?
Just shy of 4.5
Hours?
No, states.
Oh, 4.5 states. I'm like hours, guys. He's like states. How long does it take? Well, I mean, it depends which states, right?
Yeah.
Because some states are really small. So, like,
New Hampshire ain't bad, I hear.
so I grew up on the West Coast, and I know this lifestyle is huge, like passing from California through Arizona. And, you know, those states in a car, you can be in them for 8 hours driving straight. Like,
Benefit of the rail is it literally is straight, and there's no speed limit.
so what's the furthest you've ever been away rail jumping from Illinois? Was it Georgia?
Probably Portland, Oregon.
Oh, yeah, that's a good ride. So that's kind of I guess a cool thing about it is you can just go anywhere you want, depending on what you feel like, right?
I tell people all the time, I don't have a job, I don't have a life, I have nothing, and I have nothing to lose. I have everything to gain. I can go to another state, maybe my life and my wife is waiting on me.
So, in my channel, I talk a lot about coins and coin collecting and different historical things. So I know because recently I did a video at the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, and there's a whole display there on hobo nickels. So do you know what an Indian head nickel was? Yeah. So they took the Indian head nickel, and some artists or people who, you know, whoever, they carved them into hobos, called a hobo nickel.
Just right, and it'll look just right.
So you've heard about that. So is that a famous thing?
Originally, it was tongue-in-cheek.
Right.
That was kind of a gift, if you will. Kind of like if you look up a racketeer's nickel.
Oh, I never heard of that. A racketeer's nickel? What is that? What is it?
There's something different. I
Huh.
don't know how to explain it.
So
But it's kind of a treat.
So when did you first hear about a hobo nickel?
When I got one.
Oh, so are they like kind of like challenge coins? Like people give them to you when they meet you, or?
Well, to some extent, it's more a love thing. Like
from hobo to hobo,
yeah.
or?
You know, it's
Wow.
like, you're my friend. I've taken my time to do this. I've defaced government's property just for you.
Right, because it was circulated at the time, so it was technically a crime, right? So if there's anyone watching that's like interested in the lifestyle, don't do it.
It's not. There's no love anymore. People carry credit cards. They're looking down at their phones. The trains, they stop in the middle of nowhere, put a drone over them and x-ray them, infrared them.
Oh, really?
It's just over with.
And they just kick them out in the middle of nowhere? So if this was 30 years ago,
Oh, dude, I tell you, come to Springfield right now, and I'll show you how.
but now it's
It's done.
because of technology. Huh. So if someone decided to go against your advisory and decided to do it,
blanket.
yeah, what's the top like 5 things someone needs to have with them? And are there people with blankets that hide infrared so the drones
so
don't
that's what
find
I was
them?
telling you.
Okay.
Supposedly, an infrared blanket, if you do it right and you put it silver side out and throw it over yourself,
The
you
drone
get
won't
down.
see you.
It'll cover and reflect because it's the silver blanket. It's aluminum inside.
Huh.
But the problem is they're still going to see a big blob of nothing.
Okay, let's go back in history. If it's 30 years ago, what's the top things people would need with them? Forget the internet. Forget like what was it called with the Terminator? What was the Terminator, the big computer system called?
No, I don't really
Oh, I'm
but
forgetting.
yeah.
What was it called? I'll put it on the screen now, but there was like during the Terminator, it was like the big computer system.
Yeah,
So
that's what they were fighting.
we're pre that, okay? If this is 30 years ago, what advice would you give people who kind of wanted to experience
A pair
that?
of socks, a pair of underwear, a way to light a fire,
Okay, wait a
and
lot
a
of fun.
can opener.
Okay, so you wouldn't need a weapon of any kind.
Why would you need a weapon?
So nowadays, would you need a weapon?
I carry a 1,000,000-watt taser on me.
So that's crazy, guys. 30 years ago, you could rail jump and have a decent experience and go across the
I'll
U.S.
do you one better. 22 years ago when I started, they showed me love.
But
You
now
could
it's
be anywhere, and they would literally cuddle you.
a different story.
There were general rules. When you went into a camp, if you didn't know them, there was a term. You'd say "oi oi," and that would let people know you're another.
So it was a
traveler.
brotherhood almost.
It was love. We all trained our dogs the same way.
Huh.
Everybody, it wasn't sit, it was kick.
So it was like its own tribe
It was
almost.
a tribe, yes. And we did that because we were united. So when we met each other in another place, maybe I wasn't around my dog, but you were able to calm my dog down because I wasn't there because you knew the commands.
Oh,
that
you
I
knew
had.
the code. So it's like police, how they use German with their dogs, and any police officer that knows
stop
it
it.
can stop it. Interesting. So what's life like? I mean, obviously things always change, right?
Oh yeah.
Everything always changes in history and this
Spice
and
of life
that.
and shit.
Yeah, but like, what have you done now differently because of this? Do you still rail jump? Do you do things a little safer? Like, what do you do different? Or do you just keep going and just whatever?
Unfortunately, I have a nickname of Squirrel, and that's because I'm kind of reckless.
Some would argue you're young and reckless.
I would rather go down doing what I enjoy than to retire and not have anything done that I ever wanted to do. Security means nothing. You get one life.
But is security really secure?
That's my argument.
Are you really secure
I was
sitting?
contract for deed on a house when I was 19. I had a lot of nice stuff, and I had it all taken away from me, like that.
Yeah. So
So it means nothing.
So-
it's funny money.
are you more secure when you're sitting in a suburb somewhere in a house? Are you more?
Oh no, I feel like a caged animal.
Or are you more secure when you can go anywhere you want and not care?
I'm more comfortable like this.
And you said it's funny money. What did you mean by that?
Now you see it, now you don't.
Huh. So here's the interesting thing about my channel. Like, we talk a lot about coins, but a lot of them are about gold and silver coins. Because back in the day, our money was gold and silver, but now it's just paper printed, and they print it as they need it. So a lot of people that watch my channel are in the mentality of, we need to collect coins to prepare ourselves and to save our money. Because if you leave your money in paper currency, it's printed every day into oblivion.
And I see where you're coming from with the solid metal thing, because it is solid and it is what it is.
Yeah.
It fluctuates, but not like that.
And it's got thousands of
A
years
piece
of
of
history.
paper could be a piece of paper.
So here's
Again.
a question. On your 22 years on the rail, or if I misquoted that, let me know.
The only thing that's worth a fuck on the rail is a silver dollar,
A silver dollar.
because they are silver.
Interesting. So people trade
Silver
silver
dollars.
on. So do you
It's
know?
a barter trade system.
Now I'm gonna ask you the name. You might just know it by what it looks like, but does the name like a peace dollar or a Morgan dollar?
Yeah.
Morgan?
Yeah, it's got a female on it with a crown on it, right?
Oh yeah, that's the peace dollar. Yeah.
That's a piece, yeah. Okay.
And even the Morgan might have no. The Morgan has
Morgan
like
had the
a
wreath.
yeah, like a headband
Yeah.
type thing. Yeah.
My grandpa
Interesting.
used to collect.
So even now, was that when you first started, or do they still trade silver dollars now?
Still.
So,
One thing I'll give everybody that you were talking about, they're right. Silver, gold will never go out of style. My grandpa said it best, it only gets more rare. It gets harder to find.
So let me ask you a question. What could a silver dollar get you when you? I'm gonna ask you when you first started and
favor.
now. So when
It
you
gets you a favor.
when you first started, what did it get
Depends
you?
on the person. It really does.
So whatever they think it's worth to them.
Yeah, I mean, and then again, so we have a nickel that people have carved. Do you think maybe there's some dollars out there they have?
Oh, so there's hobo dollars?
Possibly.
Do you have one on you now? Dang it, I was gonna ask you to see it. All right, so what would you classify a favor be? Like give you a blanket
It
or
could
help
be
you to the
anything
next
from
stop?
a cigarette to tying somebody up.
Oh,
Not literal
a
tying
big
somebody
a
up,
big
but
favor.
It depends on the person. It
Huh.
depends on their heart. It's just like, I didn't ask you, you got me a drink.
Yeah.
It depends on the heart. Now, another person, another time, asked me to leave because I was too interested. So it's all the heart. For me, a silver dollar gets you $20.
Yeah.
Whatever $20 worth. Because that's what it's worth to me.
So what about now? Would if someone gave you a silver dollar nowadays, would it be any different than 20 years ago, or is it the same thing? Whatever $20 is what $20 is.
It's kind of the same to me. I mean, it'll always have sentimental. I mean, I have a Red Star note, $2 that somebody gave me, and the
nice.
serial number on it is actually a Royal Flush.
Oh wow.
For those of you who play dollar bill poker,
Yeah.
it's a very, very nice one. So don't get me wrong, some coins and some money are worth something. Somebody gave that to me and it's signed by their brother,
Wow.
and he passed, and it was their lucky dollar.
Wow.
So
So do you have? I know you don't have any hobo dollars. Do you happen to have any hobo nickels or
I don't
anything
have
on you?
any, no.
No.
Like literally everything you see is what I got. I spent the last of my money on this guitar not too long ago.
That's a really cool guitar, man.
Shout out to Mike Butler. He's the man. Y'all, I gotta look him up, man. He plays guitar like nobody, and he hooked me up $30.
So you said when you first started this that you started real jumping because you had a problem with substance, some sort of substance abuse. Is that still an issue today, or have you been able to get over that, or?
Well, I guess I'd say it the same way I say it to my son. An addictive personality never goes away. But you'll learn to exchange one addiction for another.
Okay.
Now I play guitar. I've only played it, 2 days. You see how good I was.
So that's your new addiction.
I played it until my fingers bled. But there are personalities that are like that.
Right.
It's all a coping thing. Just gotta find what you want.
So let me ask you a question. Say, because I've got a lot of younger kids that watch this channel, even though you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. So here's a question for you. If some 13-year-old kid is watching today,
And it's the same age as my son, gone.
same age as your son, what advice would you give them for life, just to be successful in life? What would you tell them?
Well, first off, be ever aware of your surroundings and the choices you make, because one of them could follow you forever. And it's not something to dice. It's not something to joke with. I have a college education. I also have a felony to back it. So that's part and parcel of it.
So the felony is the thing that will follow you
It
forever.
negates a lot of the good.
So what was your college degree in, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm a culinary arts.
Okay. So
I'm
you
a
want
chef by trade.
Chef, nice. Was there any particular food type you like to do, or just all food in general?
I don't care what it is, as long as I get to cook it and they smile.
That's really cool. So do you think you'll ever follow that passion again, or what do you think is going to happen in the next 10 years?
Thinking gets me in trouble.
Is it something you'd be interested in doing in the future?
I love to cook, and excuse my language, you kids. Don't quit looking.
I'll bleep it. Don't worry. So here's a question for you. if you ended up in a city you liked and someone came to you and said, hey, we want you to be a chef, would you be willing to give up your life of jumping reels to become a chef? Or is your life of jumping reels and touring the U.S. more fun to you? Like, what's your priority?
I would love to cook again. I spent a lot of time honing the ability that I have. But I couldn't give up busking. I couldn't give up playing my.
You can't give up the road, right?
I could give up the road, but their problem is that I would still sit on a corner with this.
Right.
Because it's my love.
So is the music more of a love to you than the food, or?
To some extent. I think they're about part and parcel.
So I'll ask you, what's your favorite dish to make? And it doesn't have to be something fancy. It can be macaroni and cheese, because I've had macaroni and cheese. That's a masterpiece. Like, what's your favorite dish to prepare for somebody?
Probably crab rangoon.
Crab rangoon. You know, I just came from Maryland, and crab was very famous there. And I actually had crabs that I was showing on the video, and everyone in the channel was going crazy.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset right now that you're talking about this soft shell, because I know what you're talking about.
Okay, the crabs. Woo!
Were they blue?
Some of them.
See, there you go.
Can you give a shout out to the Crustacean Nation?
Much love, bro. I love crabs. Unless they're, well, never mind. We got kids watching.
Yeah.
Watching.
So, I think we're at the end of this interview. Is there anything else that you want to say or tell anybody?
Just remember that we're people too. We're not always your bag. We're not always your cup of tea. But we're still a cup of tea.
Right. Your people, right?
And some of us actually didn't mean to end up this way. Not all of us are like me.
Right.
I literally woke up one day and went, why not?
So you made the decision.
But other people
didn't.
And especially in this time, I have a business owner that I know that is homeless now.
And my friend, I think it's only going to get worse. Like, you can't shut down businesses for...
This isn't over.
You can't shut down
Show
businesses
them
for
the streets.
6...
Show them the streets. This is downtown. It's dead.
There's no... You can't shut down everything for 6-8 months a year and think things are going to be fine, right?
I'm having a hard time even finding a bar. And
that's
bad,
open, right? That's open.
because there's two things that will never die. Sorry, guys, I'm going to say it again. Prostitution
Beep.
and beer.
Yep, there you go.
And if you can't find a bar that's open,
That's a problem.
and how many of these bars downtown are shutting down? I mean, show them this building over here right next to us. Look at this.
Yeah, shut down, boarded up.
I mean, just...
Have you had any problems with Antifa here, like rioting or anything, or no?
Not really, but there is a big movement going on of some sort. We've had about 5 people killed in the past 2 weeks.
Just like random violence type thing, or?
I think it's retaliation on the first one. There was a shooting downtown.
So is it like gang violence, or like...
Am I
going to get shot in the face walking to my hotel?
Nah.
Okay. Cool, man. Well,
And no, you won't. I'll walk you.
can I ask you an honest question? I want to give you a little bit of cash to help yourself out and get some food and stuff. But like, here's my conundrum.
I use it for drugs.
Exactly, and you gotta look at it from my perspective. I used to work on ambulances and do these different things, so I understand the drug cycle. I understand these issues, and I know it's better to sometimes maybe give food or whatever.
Do you enable?
Yeah.
Or do you? And I
Yeah. So my first question is, can I give you a little bit of money to get yourself some food or whatever you might need, but just...
I'm actually getting ready to go over to my buddy's house, and I'm gonna bribe him. That was part of the reason I had a little money on me. I'm stopping at one. If I can find a bar on the way, guys. You guys don't understand. It's shut down. Everything's shut down, bro.
So you can, okay. And the second question is, so do you still have substance abuse problems now?
For those of you who accept marijuana and beer as being substance abuse,
I mean, it can be if it consumes your entire life, right?
I mean,
all right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a little bit of cash, and I'm not going to tell you what to do with it because you're a grown adult. but I really hope that you can use it for some food or some other stuff you might need. Does that sound cool? I appreciate you sharing your story with the viewers, man. It's super cool, super eye-opening. And I wish I had a silver dollar on me right now because I'd give it to you. But instead,
Yeah, I'm a sucker for it.
instead you said a silver dollar was...
It is worth 20, you're right.
So I'm going to give you a $20 bill.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate the interview. I appreciate you being candid with everybody. Is there any final words you want to say?
Just, those of you who decide that you want to do this, just remember it ain't for the faint of heart.
You got to be tough as nails, right? Or
You gotta
even
be
more.
reckless.
You got to be reckless.
Sometimes you literally just got to know that you're going to get hurt and go do it.
That sounds good. Well, thank you everybody for watching. And on my channel, I always say at the end to catch you on the next one. Can you hit it for us?
Catch you on the next one, guys.
Woo!
One stacker on a journey to find silver. International Stacker.